Hello. Now, one of my viewers asked me what I carry on a day walk, and rather than answer that one directly, it seems like it's a good idea for a video, so that's what I'm going to cover today. But the first thing you need to do is actually set some context, because what you need to carry on a day walk is going to depend on a whole range of factors, from where you are in the world, the time of year, your skill level, your general fitness levels, to the type of walking that you're doing and how long you intend to be out for. So to set the context, I am walking in the southeast of England, where it's a typical kind of lowland environment. It's forest like this and kind of meadows, very pleasant. It's very kind of mild and moderate, if you like. It's not particularly a wild country. That is something to be aware of. And we're talking about what I would carry on a spring walk, where the weather can be a little bit variable, but you don't get extremes of heat or extremes of cold either. So the first thing to think about is clothing. Now, because spring is so variable here, there are a couple of things I'll always make sure I have with me. First thing is, if I'm not already wearing them, I will have a hat and gloves inside my bag. And there's two types of hat that I go for. The first one, if it's sunny like today, is I'll go for something like this. This is the Helicon Tex folding baseball cap, and I really like this cap. The reason I love this one so much is it's got like a bend in the peak here, so you can just fold that down, fold it on itself like this, and then just stuff it into your bag. So it takes up hardly any room at all, but it does actually shield your eyes from the sun. So that is a really good bit of kit and something I would definitely recommend having. If it's a bit colder, I go for something like this, and this is a merino wool beanie hat. Yeah, and this is from Fox Outdoors. Now, I like this one because, again, it's very light and thin, and it folds down, as you can see, to like virtually nothing. So that'll just go inside like a pocket, or pocket even, or my bag. It take up no space at all, but it does give you a surprising amount of warmth and does keep your ears warm too. Now, I like both of these hats so much, I've bought each in two different colours with my own money. So I've got them in green and I've got them in coaty brown as well. And if you're interested in buying these, I will leave a link to Amazon where you can actually purchase them. And just for full disclosure, if you do purchase them through those links, I do get a little bit of commission, but I bought these with my own money, and then I've decided to kind of promote them as opposed to being asked to promote them by the company. That makes sense, because I just think these are really good. Now, the other item of clothing I recommend you have with you is a spare mid-layer, and that could be just a simple fleece jumper, and that's what I tend to wear or tend to carry most of the time. And the important thing here is this is a spare layer. It's not something you're planning on actually wearing. It's just there in case it gets colder than you anticipate it was going to be. Or alternatively, at the end of the day, if you're kind of stationary at a train station, waiting for that train home, you've got something extra to throw on, and it can make all the difference in terms of your kind of comfort. Now, if it's so sunny that I've gone out without like a soft shell or some sort of outer shell like I'm wearing today, which protects me from the wind and gives me a little bit of rain resistance, then instead of like a fleece jumper, I'll pack something like this instead. And this is a lightweight compressible jacket. Now, these are really good because they have a down or a polyester insulation filling, so they are quite warm. They give you that wind resistance, but they pack down to absolutely nothing, and they're so light. You can just take this out of your bag, throw it on, and you've got an instant hit of warmth, which you really do appreciate. You can see what I mean now about that variable temperature, because it is actually getting really quite cold here when I'm just kind of sat here. Now, another thing I always recommend you carry for a day out in the countryside is food and water, enough to get you through the day, plus a little bit extra as well. And that's because 9 times out of 10, when I was teaching cadets, if a cadet went sick, it was because they hadn't eaten or drunk enough that day. It is really important to keep eating and drinking when you're doing lots of activity. Now, in terms of food, I'll always carry what I'm planning on being out there for, plus one spare meal, just in case things don't go to plan, maybe get a little bit lost, or it takes me longer getting up a hill than I thought it was going to. Right, so this has gone from not a great situation to one that is an absolute disaster. I am now stuck on a Welsh hillside in the fog at night, at dark. And for water, I'll take a minimum of 1.5 litres, and I'll carry 2 litres on warmer days, or if I'm going somewhere where I'm not sure I'm going to be able to top up along the way. Now, I carry my water in bottles. The bottle I tend to recommend is this one, which is the Water to Go filter bottle. I've had this one for years and years now, and it is a fantastic bottle. The reason I recommend this is because if you were to run out of water and you had to fill up from like a stream or a pond or a lake, you can actually do this with this bottle, and it will filter out the bacteria, viruses, and chemicals as well. So it is a really, really useful bottle to have. It weighs no more than a regular bottle. I think they cost about £30 now, but they are absolutely superb. You've just got to remember to change the filter every 200 litres. They cost about a tenner. I changed mine last year, the end of last year. So this will do me all of this year, probably next, because 200 litres is a lot of days out in the countryside. So really good. They even make like regular tap water taste nicer because they filter it. So I do highly recommend these. I'll leave a link again in Amazon where you can buy these. I will get commission if you buy it from them, but that's not why I'm recommending them. I just think these are really good bits of kit. Another thing I always like to bring with me on a day walk in the spring is a poncho. And the reason for this is mainly just in case it rains so I can stay nice and dry. But in terms of safety kit, this does have other advantages as well. You know, if I did need to make a shelter, I can make a lean-to shelter with this, so I can stay overnight if I really had to. I could make a survival bag out of it by just kind of clipping it together and you know, sort of snuggling into that. That'll keep me sort of dry in an emergency as well. So as a bit of safety kit, it's really good. As a bit of convenience and comfort kit in case it rains, it's really useful as well. And again, these are quite cheap. You know, I think this is about 650 grams it weighs, which is less than a rain jacket, and it gives me a lot more coverage than a rain jacket too. So great bit of kit. Poncho is something I would definitely recommend. The military ones tend to be a little bit larger, which is good for shelter building, but even the military style ones, which are a bit lighter, are worth carrying too. Another thing I recommend you carry, and something that I consider to be absolutely essential survival kit, is something that a lot of people don't even think about at all, and that is this, which is simple high-vis stuff. Because if you're walking along poorly lit conditions, or just kind of like in poor visibility along a country lane, then this can make a huge difference in how visible you are and could potentially save your life. And in terms of survival kit, you're far more likely to need this than a condom in an old tobacco tin, unless of course you're very, very lucky. Now this one is just a belt, and what I do is I attach this around my rucksack, and then it can be seen from kind of the sides and the back, and that makes a huge difference. But I also have these. These are basically the little lights, but they are kind of high vis and reflectors as well. They make a huge difference. These work on magnets, so I can just kind of attach them to the straps, and then it makes a big difference to the visibility when I'm out and about. I also carry two main lights. Back in the old days, I used to carry, you know, just like one light and a spare battery. These days, the lights are so light and so powerful, I actually carry two complete systems. I have a hand torch and a head torch, and having the ability to have light in the countryside at night can make a huge difference, because it can, you know, it stops so many accidents. One, from being seen by cars and things, but also just generally tripping over things. So definitely think about having at least two torches that are good quality, and maybe even a spare battery too. Another thing I always recommend you have is stuff to do with basic self-care. So I'd have like a first aid kit. It's important that it's big enough to have everything you need, but small enough that you're going to actually carry it with you. I tend to purchase my own now. Rather than buy a first aid kit, I'll just buy a pouch and then kind of make it up, if that makes sense. The stuff I tend to have in there are things like crepe bandages and wound dressing, so I can deal with kind of a small or kind of a fairly moderate bleed with that quite easily with just those two tools. And then I'd have basic things like blister plasters, because they always come in handy when you're doing a long day walk. And then things like ibuprofen in case you get aches and pains, some antihistamines for stings and bites, and then you know, some anti-diarrhea medicine, because nobody wants to deal with that on a long day out in the countryside. On top of that, this time of year, I always start carrying sunscreen as well. It is a bit early to get sunburn, but you know, it can happen if it's a particularly bright day. So it's worth having sunscreen there, and also insect repellent as well, because this time of year they do start to come out, and it's always worth having that with you. Another thing I think it's really important to think about when you're out in the countryside is to have some way of navigating and some way to signal for help as well, if you need to. Now, for me, the primary means of doing this is my mobile phone, because these are so good where I live. It is very flat, and I tend to always have a signal wherever I am. But I know when you're in Wales and sort of parts of Scotland and stuff, you know, sometimes these aren't quite so good. Now, what I would say if you are using a phone is, one, get a waterproof one. That can make a huge difference. You want one with a waterproof rating, so that you're not afraid of using it when it's raining and there's no chance of it getting damaged and kind of breaking because of that when you need it the most. So that's definitely worth considering. Also, if you are going to use it for navigation, then make sure you download the maps first, so you've got them in offline mode, rather than having to kind of rely on data, because you might not get data when you're out there. So do download the maps beforehand. Now, because this is so good for both navigation and for signalling, I also carry a small power bank like this one. This is a 10,000 milliamp power bank. It's enough to give me 2 full charges on my phone, and that's plenty for a day's walk. Just bear in mind, when you are using your phone for navigation, you've got the GPS on, it does tend to drain the batteries a lot faster. So having something like this and a cable obviously to charge it can make a huge difference, and I would definitely recommend carrying that. Now, the phone is great, but I wouldn't rely on it completely. You also need some sort of backup as well. So for navigation, I always have a paper map. Even if that's just like a printout of paper, I will have that to carry. I tend not to use a compass because I've learned to navigate without a compass now, just because I can walk, orientating myself to different features on the ground. That's an experience and a skill thing, as well as the sort of terrain that I walk on. If I was in the desert where I had to kind of walk on a bearing, I would be carrying a compass. What I should have packed was a spare SD card, because I've actually run out. But the only other extras to carry are a little bit of duct tape, just so I can sort of do repairs, a little bit of cord, so again for fixing things as I need to. A small sort of folding penknife, just so I can kind of cut the string and stuff as I need to do that. And a small firelighting kit, so like hand gel, a lighter, and a ferro rod, or a couple of tampons for, not for that, for Tinder. But thanks very much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you next time.